I certainly want the FBI to be something that you immediately.
I'll just yield the balance of my time. If there's anything that you think you need to add, or that you were cut off and not had the time to add to this discussion, I'll yield the balance of my time to Mr. Struggs to do that.
Sir, I appreciate that offer. I'm struck listening to your statements, and I know the history of the FBI. I certainly want the FBI to be something that you immediately leap to the defense of, and I think that's something we're working very hard to become. But again, I appreciate the offer, and thank you.
And when it comes to the FBI, I also asked years ago to have a hearing on the fact that we don't know or track how many crimes are committed by FBI informants. We haven't had that hearing. But we spent time on Fast and Furious because we were introducing guns into the hands of criminals. But every day, the FBI and law enforcement with snitches and confidential informants allow people to deal drugs in the African-American community that cooperate with the FBI. We still have not had that hearing. So all I'm asking for is let's at least keep our eye on things that are affecting all of our communities. And this just isn't one of them. And the unfortunate part is, I think, we've been unable to keep tunnel vision on the things that are important, and we've allowed ourselves to get distracted by something that the investigation will, at the end of its day, the thing will speak for itself.
I didn't know where to head back at the moment. I decided. All I know that I was at the moment. So, I thought that the police department was monitoring him, but in a very obvious way. And I don't think he understood that his course is associated with working for us.
Turns out not only did Malcolm not know about Roberts, the prosecution in the case didn't either. Which means that Roberts was definitely the key for the investigation, even though he was right there.
Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This video, we're going to talk about a few points and how even in history, you can go down and see where the FBI uses informants to do their deeds. Allow them to break the law in order to target certain individuals. Maybe all this will make sense by the end. So if you haven't already checked out my website, Prima Donna News at primadonnaproductionsllc.com, link is in the description. You will come to find that I have been working tirelessly to put together this website in order to present the things that I talk about in these videos, as well as the images for those that have stated they can't see or read certain things. So anyways, this video is about the R. Kelly and Jay-Z beef, Rocnation / Rockland Records, and the ongoing federal investigation against Tidal. As I mentioned in my video with Tupac and R. Kelly, the best of both worlds, everyone recalls that the collaboration between R. Kelly and Jay-Z went down in 2002, I believe. The pair began working together in 2001 and recorded the hit song Fiesta, which led to the idea of putting them together for a full album and tour. As pointed out in my previous video, many didn't know that if Tupac had have been alive, R. Kelly would have composed the album with him rather than Jay-Z. And that link is in this blog. Everything on here you can click on. So feel free to take your time and go through everything that I've put on here. It's no secret that Tupac had issues with not only Notorious Big, but also with Jay-Z, according to past articles. Tupac was good friends with a lady by the name of Desiree Perez, who is now CEO of Rocnation. Now, as I started off with the video, of course we know there's corruption, not only in the police task, but also all the way up to the FBI. It should be noted that Perez is now more known for being an informant than anything else. Is it a coincidence that this lady, who used to be best friends with Tupac allegedly, is now CEO of Rocnation? It should be obvious by now how small the industry really is, and how people run in the same circles. Yet, what are the odds of this known informant moving her way up to CEO of Rocnation in the midst of many reports of the Beyonce-Kanye West streaming scandal on Tidal? Now, going back to 2013, there's been ongoing conversations about the streaming on Tidal, especially when it comes to Beyonce's music. And Beyonce and Jay-Z have been sued. Also, in the backgrounds, with these companies, they're often sold off and things like that. So when an investigation leads to the fact that there's been some manipulation going on, that just opened the door for a criminal investigation. Because, of course, if you're manipulating the numbers, that is also going to manipulate money coming in, revenue. With that being said, of course, people are going to be receiving their royalty checks. That would be considered fraud should Jay-Z and his company be found guilty of manipulating these streams. What are the odds that whenever an artist starts asking questions about their finances, they end up being involved in a tragic situation? What are the odds so many artists in business with record labels such as Sony end up being the victim of shady contracts, scandals, and an ultimate untimely death? What are the odds that such record labels have also business ties with so many big name media outlets that lead most of the information we receive? When you think about Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers, you should also think about media outlets such as CNN, CBS, NBC, etc., New York Times, Washington Post, Daily Beast, etc. It has always been said that there was always tension between R. Kelly and Jay-Z while working together. Before the untimely death of Aaliyah, she was at the top of her game. Many have said there was also tension between her and Beyonce. If you don't know the backstory, according to old articles, after the whole Aaliyah and R. Kelly scandal, Jay-Z reportedly took interest in Aaliyah at some point. As this picture would show, you see a clearly young Aaliyah, her brother, Jay-Z, and some other guy. Aaliyah does appear young in the photo, and as it has been stated, seeing her brother should let you know that there's a little bit of deception when it comes to a certain story that was put out about Aaliyah. Because contrary to certain narratives, Aaliyah's family maintains throughout her career someone was always present with her. So the idea that she could have somehow gotten away and gotten illegally married underage is absurd. Many people have pointed out the relationship or situationship or whatever it was between Aaliyah and Jay-Z. And quite strangely, it would be strange to overlook the fact that you see Aaliyah also photographed with Dame Dash. Sometimes it would almost appear that she would go from one person to the next. But according to the records that have been published, they began dating in 1999. The so-called marriage happened in 95. And if you look at the marriage happened in 94. And if you look online, you would notice that they claim it ended in 95. So wouldn't that leave to question, why did it take such a long period to get this so-called marriage annulled? According to the story, this happened right away. It is not uncommon for artists to be paired for publicity, yet one couldn't ignore how strange the photos appear. R. Kelly oftentimes referred to Aaliyah as his best friend. Would it be a stretch to believe that even though the marriage scandal was for publicity, he still deeply valued a friendship with the young artist? Many strongly feel Beyonce was groomed to replace Aaliyah, and with her untimely death, it opened the door for Beyonce to advance. 3 months after the release of Fiesta, Aaliyah dies in a plane crash. But let's go back to 95, because in 95, Jay-Z and Damon Dash established Rockefeller Records. And in 98, R. Kelly established Rockland Records, both under the same umbrella, Universal Music Group. Again, another record label like Sony that profits greatly with the demise of their most talented artists. The big three, Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers, are the three major record labels that also have a great control of the media we are shown. Strangely, it would appear these record labels operate under a monopoly system that leaves its artists in uncompromising positions, while they profit from their estates. In the beginning, Jay-Z tried to distance himself from Kelly after his 2002 charges, even though an agreement had already been in place for the Best of Both Worlds tour.
With R. Kelly, have you maintained any type of contact with R. Kelly since?
We spoke, like, you know what I'm saying, we spoke a couple of times, but I don't really want to be, like, I know he's getting calls from everywhere, and, you know, some people really concerned, some people just want to be nosy, they want to know what's going on in the guy's life, you know, I don't want to be another person like that, you know what I'm saying, like, I mean, you know, got love for the dude, you know, I mean, if he's guilty, I just hope and pray that he get help. If he's not, I wish everybody, you know what I'm saying, everybody embrace him, you know, and whatever, you know what I'm saying, but I'm not, it's just sparse.
Okay. Were you, as a solo artist, were you concerned about that whole ordeal affecting you the next time you came out with this album?
I was not concerned for my career, like, as far as an artist, I know, like, You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that. Like, I know I ain't have nothing to do with that. So, you know, the alleged incident, you know what I'm saying? So, it was just, I was more so, the one word and one feeling that I think about when I think about the album is just like blown opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's like what we did with the album as far as like we was in the process of touring. Like we was putting together a show, like a 2 hours straight. Like you do 3 songs, run on stage. I'm gonna do 3 songs, run on stage. We're gonna change the set. Then we gonna come back and do Fiesta together. Then we gonna come do this one again. You know what I'm saying? It would have been something real creative, and that's the whole reason why that album came together was let's do something creative and know that nobody really done before. Is bring these 2 genres of music together and make something really crazy, and then go out on tour and make history. We'd probably be in Europe right now.
Yeah, that would have.
Yeah, they would probably have 4 legs on that tour. That
right?
It would have been a beast.
5 legs. You know? That definitely.
Once it became clear how profitable this Best of Both Worlds tour would be, Jay-Z, of course, decided to proceed with the business venture. However, the tensions were clearly there and would ultimately cause the tour to end abruptly. Both parties have a difference of opinions as to what caused the end of the collaboration, yet one thing is for sure: R. Kelly was assaulted during one show and then kicked off the tour, allegedly for erratic behavior. This then prompted Kelly to take legal action and sue Jay-Z for reportedly $75 million for allegedly sabotaging the tour. Just like with many celebrities, Minister Farrakhan is always in the picture. Many are unaware that Farrakhan was asked to put aside his musical career to serve the Nation of Islam, yet clearly he is still very much involved in the background. Farrakhan once warned R. Kelly about his manager, Barry Hankerson. He stated, and I quote, that Barry Hankerson meant him no good. And if you go to this site, you could see that video offhand, or just go through my playlist. Interestingly enough, stories that Jay-Z has been implicated in the current R. Kelly scandal began to emerge. If you recall, Tasha K put out there that this LaToya X character gave her information that she gave oral sex to Jay-Z when she was 15. If my information is correct about the Detroit accuser, this is the same person. This is also the same person that Cash admitted Tim Savage was trying to get to claim her book, Sex Me, Daddy's Little Freak. According to the stories, Jay-Z was also involved with the young Foxy Brown, who was 15 or 16 at the time.
He was linked to several men in the industry, including Jay-Z, Allen Iverson, and Master P. However, in 1996, she reportedly started dating Dog Pound rapper Corrupt.
There have been reports that are circulating saying that Foxy Brown told someone at a party about the relationship that she shared with Jay-Z. Foxy Brown alleges that her and Jay-Z had a relationship when she was just a minor. Yep, at the age of 15, she says. And then she also alleges that Jay-Z has had relationships with men. Now, If this is all true, this takes me back to the R. Kelly situation. And if you watch the interview that Damon Dash did, saying that he wasn't rocking with R. Kelly, and him and Jay-Z had a falling out because Damon Dash felt that Jay-Z should have fell back, knowing the allegations that were circulating around R. Kelly, but Jay-Z chose not to. Jay-Z chose to move forward, and that started an issue within the relationship between Dame Dash and Jay-Z. So,
but we all know that's some bullshit, considering you can pull up the footage in which Damon Dash, clout chasing ass, was all happy-go-lucky, and then trying to come back and excuse it, talking about Aaliyah told him to pretty much do it, which is, again, bullshit.
if this is true, then the reason why Jay-Z supported R. Kelly and still went through with the touring of that album of The Best of Both Worlds is because that Jay-Z himself indulges in that same behavior. Now, Foxy Brown has came out and denied everything that has been said about this situation. She said that she has never told anyone about anything dealing with Jay-Z as far as her being a minor and having a relationship with him.
She also neglected to mention that allegedly she's getting some, let's say, payments from Jay-Z. Could that be to keep the story the way it was? So she must have forgot. She put on record, and her lyrics say, people used to say she effed with Nas. The real nigga was Jay-Z. She forgot about that. And it's just mighty coincidental that a lot of people don't know about Jay-Z's history in Baltimore. This story just gets so interesting. As you can see again, these small circles. So I wonder what Candy Burris has to say in regards to all of this. And as you continue to scroll down, you will notice an article in which an accuser of R. Kelly claims Foxy Brown did her dirty out of jealousy over R. Kelly. So you have Lisa Van Allen bringing Foxy Brown into her storyline, talking about Foxy Brown wanted to get with R. Kelly. According to Lisa Van Allen, R. Kelly was only interested in her, though. It's so interesting how Lisa Van Allen wants to keep putting herself on this pedestal like she was above everybody, including his wife, Drea Kelly. After the Surviving R. Kelly series airs, you have people, of course, chiming in, like Nas, talking about Jay-Z indulged in young girls with R. Kelly. Yet why didn't anybody alert authorities? Everybody was cool with this. Why? You expect us to believe this? Now it's being reported that there is a criminal investigation going on with Tidal. Jay-Z has been among many celebrities who have called out record labels as offering slave contracts. Yet how many times have we heard this story? There was also reports about Jay-Z linking up with Meek Mill and establishing this record label, The Dream Chasers. And of course, it was also said that Azriel Clary was trying to find her way on that record label. It's ironic you have people like Ice Cube who are so proactive in trying to steer the black community today, telling people to stay woke, etc. And maybe it's just a coincidence that he has a company, the Big Three, a company in which his partner, Jeff Quaitnitz, who was a former manager of R. Kelly, is involved with. If you recall the story told by the Savages, the guy pictured with Ice Cube here, Kevin Giles, initially set up their contact with R. Kelly. See, that's the thing about them. They can't figure out which narrative they want to run. Is he recruiting girls, or are members of his entourage recruiting girls, trying to present them to R. Kelly for whatever reason? R. Kelly has told you all in so many words the truth, and yet so many people don't want to hear it. But you can go and look at the information for yourself on the fact that record labels are benefiting from high numbers of celebrity deaths, which was reported in 2016. We can all see clearly a lot of this stuff started to reemerge with R. Kelly in 2015. According to the reports, this is the same time frame Geronda Pace stopped receiving her payments, allegedly. Why? Because Daryl McDavid is no longer around. What are your thoughts on the information you've seen as far as the people who have been tied up in the background and in the forefront with this whole story? Again, you can go and check out all this information and get a good look at the photos presented. Because, of course, before we continue to try to fight for R. Kelly, the most important thing is to know the facts behind the things that were going on. The only way to change the false narratives is to refresh people's memory on the facts they keep trying to avoid and overlook. Even now, how these people are berating Tekashi 6ix9ine for being a snitch. Meanwhile, you can go and point out all these informants that are working for these record labels. Why is it always a very well-known celebrity who produced a lot of revenue finds themselves either the victim of media slander or an untimely death? Just think about it. The FBI has been involved in undercover operations, as they claim COINTELPRO no longer is active, but how do we know that's true? And then to see all this corruption surrounding this case, it should let even those with the slightest bit of doubt of this man's innocence that something is not right. The facts don't lie, but people do. Keep that in mind. And before I leave out, I want to also include this latest information when it comes to Azriel and this fire. See, like I've said before, can't nobody tell me what to do. So the few lives that I do pop up in, it's very interesting, the information that I leave out with that so many people overlook. Like the other night, when the grown man comes out and says that this fire incident with Azriel is old. But that went over a lot of people's heads. So ask yourself, why did she do this now? Oh, because the judge has to make a decision in regards to R. Kelly. And as you see, every time this man has a status update or something going on with his case, this informant begins to show out. Just keep that in mind. And then right after, she claims R. Kelly sent a hitman to kill me. Luckily, I escaped. Ask yourself, as much as Azriel has been on the internet, do you think she would have neglected to mention she has a new car? But all of a sudden, this information comes out of this car is on fire. Okay. I call bullshit. It's time that you stop entertaining irrelevant information and pay attention to the details, because it does matter. Shout out to everybody supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And moving forward, the next video, we're going to talk about Lisa Van Allen and the real cult that they're playing around with. Stay tuned.